and welcome to another episode of our English Learning Podcast. I am Mark.
And I am Sarah. Today we are tackling a very common habit among English learners, relying too heavily on the words good and bad.
That is right, Sarah. It is so easy to just fall back on those two little words when describing a meal, a film, or even your weekend.
Exactly. But using more advanced adjectives will truly make you sound fluent. Before we dive in, Mark, I have a quiz question for you. Are you ready?
Always ready. What have you come up with today?
Well, we know the word abysmal means extremely bad. But do you know where it comes from? Is it option A, from the Latin word for a bottomless pit, option B, from Old Norse, meaning terrible weather, or option C, named after an ancient king called Abyssus?
That is a tricky one. I will go with option B. Maybe it is related to dreadful British weather.
We shall see if you hit the nail on the head later in the show. Now, let us talk about alternatives to good. Mark, what is a better way to describe a really good film?
Instead of saying the acting was good, you could say the performance was remarkable or even outstanding. It gives so much more colour to your sentence.
Absolutely. For instance, you might say, the new documentary on wildlife was truly outstanding. It is a far cry from a basic, run-of-the-mill nature programme.
I like that. Run-of-the-mill, meaning ordinary or average. What about when things go wrong? Let us look at alternatives for bad.
Right. Instead of saying the hotel food was bad, you could describe it as dreadful or atrocious.
Yes, atrocious is a fantastic word. For example, the customer service at that restaurant was simply atrocious. We had to wait an hour for water.
And if something is just below standard, rather than terrible, you might say it is subpar. Like, the essay was a bit subpar, so I need to brush up on my grammar.
Good example. It is definitely worth figuring out these nuances. Now, I think it is time for our language spotlight, where we break down some of the phrases we just used.
Great idea. First, Mark used the phrasal verb fall back on. This means to use something for help when other plans have failed, or, in our case, using basic vocabulary because it is easy.
Exactly. Then Sarah used the idiom run-of-the-mill. If something is run-of-the-mill, it is very ordinary, with nothing special about it.
We also mentioned brush up on, which means to improve your knowledge of something you have partly forgotten. For example, I need to brush up on my French before visiting Paris.
Brilliant. Now, let us go back to today's quiz. You asked me about the origin of the word abysmal. I guessed option B, the Old Norse weather.
Well, I'm afraid you were wrong, Mark. The correct answer is A. It comes from the Latin word abyssus, meaning a bottomless pit. So if something is abysmal, it is as bad as falling into a dark, bottomless hole.
That makes perfect sense. A bottomless pit of bad quality. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode.
Remember, try to swap out good and bad for some of these new words this week. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.